Welcome to the final installment for Volume 8, Part 7, Day 7. This part deals with staying focused on your primary goal, which of course is recovery. But how do you tie all these 7 objectives together and remain focused on your final goal? It's not difficult as long as your mindset is in the right place. Also, part of this theme is for those of you who are tired of not being successful in dealing with your recovery. It's time to try some new things. It's time to be committed to some things. You're ready to turn things around. So the only way that it makes sense for us to proceed is to first review the 7 objectives and then to move forward with today's topic. The 7 are to seek a lack of drama and conflict in your life by not engaging in arguments. There's a lot of these things that can be avoided, even though if our focus is not on avoiding conflict, we think it's impossible, that conflict just comes to us. But when you make it an actual goal, you'd be surprised how many conflicts you can avoid. Even the news, and yes, even negative people. Negative people do not contribute to your personal serenity, your personal peace, your personal desire to avoid drama. As a matter of fact, negative people many times look forward to drama. You don't need to be a part of that. You have much more important business, which is taking your life back. That's way more important than participating in conflict, arguments, and drama. Also, one of the things we've discussed in this volume is taking personal responsibility for everything in your life, everything in your universe. Doesn't matter the cause. If it's in your universe, it is affecting you. And if it's affecting you, it's affecting your peace. And if it's affecting your peace, it's affecting your ability to have a successful recovery, which is an everyday, minute to minute, hour to hour undertaking. So remember, take responsibility for everything in your life and in your universe. Also, seek and make a plan for economic freedom and independence. Get away from living off of others. Stand up and make part of your goal, and a very important part, is your own personal economic freedom. That is part of your recovery and feeling very confident that you can stand on your own 2 feet. Maybe you already are. Enhance your economic plan so that you can live an independent and stress-free life. Also a contributor to your recovery. Also, seek truth with evidence. Be able to look yourself in the eye. Be a truthful person. And also don't participate with those that don't have truth as part of their goals in life. It'll help you to purify your soul, to look for truth and peace as one of your goals. Also, get an ironclad routine. Not having a routine is a recipe for failure, because that means that you can be swayed from one way to another. But if you already have your focus, you know what you're doing from the time you get up to the time you lie down and go to sleep, it would be almost impossible for you to get distracted or swayed or get an opportunity to start thinking about old behaviors and how this is a short road somehow to you feeling better. Because there's going to be times, the thing about recovery is the realistic picture, and it's the thing about life as well, is that there's going to be times that you have ups and downs. That's normal. It's probably abnormal to never have ups and downs. No one escapes and gets out of this life alive, and nobody gets out of this life without having true ups and downs. Keep that in mind. So when you see something negative coming down the road for you, or you see your life not going the way you plan, chalk that up to that's the way life is. It's not just happening to you, but you can do something about it because your attitude is going to be better. Number 6, seek belief in yourself. Very, 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 very important. If you don't have any confidence in yourself, how can you have an expectation for others to have confidence in you? Your confidence is going to be self-generated, and it's going to be self-maintained. And one of the easiest ways to interrupt your self-confidence is to focus on the past that you can't change, that you can't do anything about. That's a waste of your time and is a direct path to depression. And focusing on the future from an anxiety standpoint, meaning, woe is me, suppose this happens, what if that happens? If you think about it, about 90% of the things we worry about never occur. But we hardly ever go back and think about that. And number 7, staying focused, which is today's topic. So let's get into it. Staying focused on a recovery journey requires anchoring yourself in the present moment. There's that word again, the present moment, while keeping a clear vision of the freedom ahead. There are 4 powerful motivational dialogues, each capturing a different mindset needed when facing doubts, cravings, or the temptation to look back. Number 1, reclaiming your control, meaning facing the urge head on. When the old routine tries to convince you that just one more time won't hurt anything, that's your voice of doubt that's saying, oh, it's just one slip. You had a successful week. You deserve a break. And besides, no one is going to know. Well, the most important aspect of your life is living in truth, and you will know. So forget that. The voice of purpose. I know that voice. It's the old pattern talking, trying to convince me that temporary relief is worth long-term pain. But I'm not trading my future for a few minutes of escape. I don't need to numb this moment. I just need to sit with it until it passes. Every time I say no to the urge, I am saying yes to my life. I am building strength, not breaking down. How important is that? How many times have you had an urge for, I don't know, anything? Maybe some food that you decided you were going to avoid. Maybe you get distracted. Maybe the phone rings. Maybe you pass by that donut shop. And then next thing you know, you've basically forgot about it. The urge passed because the urge is really just a thought in your mind. It's not a true need that you have. And so many addictions are psychological ones. They do become more difficult when they become psychological and physical. But most of them are psychological. And that urge is going to pass. The second of these 4 points we're making now. The daily promise of staying grounded in the present. So important. So important. The present. When the road ahead feels overwhelming or too long. The question is, how am I going to stay clean and sober for the rest of my life? It feels like an endless climb. This is a real trick of the mind. If you just start thinking, okay, so I'm not practicing my addiction right at this moment. What happens Sunday? What happens Monday? What about next Wednesday? What about next Friday? That's a trick of the mind. You don't have to worry about those days. You only have to worry about right now, putting one foot in front of the other today. That's your job. Get refocused on the true job, which is today, which is right now. The truth is, I don't have to stay focused for 10 years, 5 years, or even next month. I only have to make the right choice today, right here, right now, in this single hour. Life isn't lived in entire lifetimes. It's lived in small, deliberate moments. If I control this moment, the future takes care of itself. Step by step, brick by brick, I am building a life I don't need to run away from. Truer words have never been spoken. You don't live your life by the week, by the month, or by the year. That's why your mind has such a good time with you. Remember, all the thoughts that come in your head are not things that you have to act on. One of the truest things that comes out of recovery a lot of times when you're in treatment is remembering that just because you have negative thoughts or bad thoughts or thoughts of even practicing your addiction, that's not what you get penalized for. You fail by actually practicing the addiction, not by thinking about it. So don't beat yourself up about thinking about it. That's part of the recovery. Number 3, redefining your identity and leaving the past behind. You are not yourself when you're practicing an addiction. You weren't born with it. That's not who you are. So leave the past behind. Redefine your identity. You can change your identity with a different mindset, meaning you can do it right now while you're listening to this. You can decide you're going to live a better life. When guilt or regret about the past tries to pull you backward, don't let it. Look at everything you destroyed as what the past thoughts will gnaw at you and say, you can't undo where you've been or where you were. Those thoughts do not help you. They do not help you move forward. And dealing with the future, I'm not defined by the chapters I've finished. I'm defined by the page I'm writing today. The past is proof of what I survived, not a sentence for who I have to be. My addiction was a part of my story, but it isn't the author. I'm allowed to grow. I'm allowed to heal. And I am worthy of a clean and honest life. Very true. That's you, the new you. Live it just by making a decision that you are. And when you make these decisions that you're going to live that life, anticipate the fact that there's going to be rough roads, that there's going to be temptations, that you're going to have some ups and downs where you actually think about it. Just chalk that up to say, I knew you were coming. I knew these negative thoughts were coming, so you don't surprise me. Just take a seat over there in the corner, negative thoughts, because I'm not going to bite. Number 4, anchoring in freedom, remembering your why. That's why it's important to keep a journal and to write down those things that I told you in earlier chapters about. You got to write down, how did you get here? What things led you to be in this situation in the first place? Those are the things you want to go back and you want to reread some of those things. Not live in the past. I just mean to remind you of your why. To remind you, why am I going through all this? Why am I doing this? It's going to be worth it so that you can live a pain-free life, at least from addiction. It's a declaration of personal power for quiet, reflective moments when you do that. Freedom isn't just the absence of a substance. This is a big, big one. It's a big mistake when people think, oh, I'm the same person with just the absence of a substance. No, it's It's designed for you to have a full life, an abundant life in many different ways. Freedom isn't just the absence of a substance, it's the presence of me. You can't blossom and flourish as you with substances as part of your life. The absence of substance allows you to bloom, just like a seed being watered and fed so that it can flourish and grow. In the wrong conditions, it will stay in its present form. It's waking up clear-headed. It's being present for the people I care about. It's trusting my own word again, trusting in yourself, looking yourself in the mirror. I'm not giving up anything by staying clean. It's another misnomer. People think they're making a sacrifice. They think they're giving up something worthwhile. I'm gaining almost everything I lost. Moving forward isn't always easy, but going backwards is no longer an option. I choose clarity. I choose strength. And I choose my life. So as we close, I want you to deal with these 3 anchors as we wrap this volume 8 up. The key anchors to keep nearby. Urges are like waves. They peak, break, and fade. You don't have to fight the ocean. You just have to ride it out. Next, remember, discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. Think about that. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most, and you want your life back. And last, progress over perfection. As long as you are moving forward, no matter how slow, you are winning. This concludes Volume 8. Thanks so much for listening.